Hello, welcome to another one of my yearly wrap-up videos. Today we're going to be looking at my emotions in 2025. I do bullet journal type spreads, and every year for the last couple of years I've been tracking my emotions in a year in pixels, and I have 10 different emotions that I can use, and I split it by a half day. So I can say sort of half a day was chill, the other half was maybe frustrating or tiring, etc. This is what it looks like in the actual table. The main colour you're seeing is the colour I used to highlight any chill/happy days, so that's obviously great that that's the main colour. You will also see some smiley faces. That's just for a day that was happy, either extra happy on these days or a day that also had other emotions but was also happy. For example here, I've no idea what happened that day, but there's emotional and chill/happy, but it was also extremely happy because there's also the exclamation mark. I did also make symbols for weird and sick. Actually, is that maybe a sick? Yes, I think that one is, but I can't see any others for either of those two, so that's pretty good. But now that we have looked at this, it's time to look at some pie charts that I've made. I've made one for each month and then one for the year, and then I've also still got my pie charts from 2024 and 2023 so we can compare. I will apologise in advance. If you've been watching me for a little while, you'll know that my computer makes a very annoying sound, so please forgive that, and hopefully you can still watch the video. Let's go! Alright, here is January. So we've obviously, again, majority got chill/happy at 24.5 days, which was almost 80%. Then we've got productive. January is a productive month apparently for me, at least in 2025 it was. And that comes in at about 10%. And then the final 10% is spread across feeling normal/meh, feeling tired, feeling sad, feeling emotional, and feeling excited. But a pretty good month, I've got to say. Pretty good. February, we've got, oh my gosh, almost 95% was chill/happy. That's fantastic. And then, oh, the rest. There's only two colours. The rest was emotional. I imagine one of those days was the run I did. In fact, I can check. And perhaps one of my family members had a medical thing, so maybe that was the other emotional day. And I had to say goodbye to my father in February, so that could be the emotional day. The 12th of February, the 16th of February, and the 23rd. The 23rd is the run. The 16th might have been the day I left my father. And it's only a half day. All three of those were half days. And the 12th, maybe that was the day of the medical procedure. I don't know. Let's carry on though. March, another very nice month, 90% chill/happy, followed by one meh day or normal, and then a couple of halves. We've got some boring, some tiring, some frustrating, some emotional, and that's it. But again, not a bad month. April, oh, slightly less happy, only 75%, slightly more meh days, that's 4. I wonder if those are the days of Pesach. 14th through to the 18th. Does that sound right? Let me look that up. Yeah, Pesach started on the 12th, so that's very funny that I've documented that. That's very funny. But I did have a couple of productive days, and I had one sad, well, half sad and half anxious. What were those? Half anxious was on the 8th of April. I don't know what that could have been about. And half sad was on the 28th of April, and I also don't know what that could have been about. Oh well. May. Oh, very happy. Again, almost 92% happy/chill. That's not the same, actually. A chill/happy day is kind of similar, usually, to a meh day, except that meh is like, ugh, it was nothing, and a chill/happy day is like, it was nothing, but I had a good day. So it's not always necessarily like I'm having a happy day every single day, it's just like, it was good. It was fine. And yeah, the rest here is meh and productive. So a pretty good month. This is the month I think that my sister came, and so I was quite happy. I had many good days. And then we're gonna go into June, which is the time I had with my family. We went on holiday, then they came here. We had a great time. Shh, be quiet. So I think that's gonna be a very happy month, but with a couple of emotional from saying goodbye. More or less bang on, 93% happy. One day that was emotional. That was probably when I said goodbye to them. Half a day that was frustrating. When was that? The 27th of June. That must have been after my family left. But I don't know why it was frustrating. And then half a day that was meh. And which half day was that? Also at the end of the month. So yeah, most of the time was very, very good. July, also pretty happy, almost 84%. Couple of exciting days. I think that might have been the days that I went to meet the hopefuls. Let me check. The 24th, yeah, that's when I went to meet them, and then also on the 2nd. I don't know why the 2nd was exciting, but it was apparently. One boring day. This might be my first boring day so far. One meh and 1.5 productive. Very good month. August, I feel like was a meh month. I don't feel like I did very much, but that might mean chill slash happy. And it does indeed. It is 88% chill slash happy, and then 6.5% meh, 3.2% productive, and again, a little bit boring. Interesting. September was a crazy month. I had my half marathon, that I still forget that I did that. Then I went to Holland and ended up sort of having to stay there longer than I was expecting, but I did get to spend time with my father and with my aunt, which was really nice. And yeah, so I think there was also Jewish holidays in between. So I think September, I don't know, probably a bit exciting, a bit like emotional, I think. Definitely happy. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, a couple of emotional in there, but still plenty of chill slash happy, and then half a day that was productive and half a day that was tiring. I wonder what the half tiring day is. The 9th of September, that's really funny. That's the day after the half marathon. Maybe it was 2 days after the half marathon. Anyway, October was also a bit of a crazy month because I did get to go back to Holland and see some more family. But then it was also my birthday, which I wasn't like thrilled about. But then I also had a really nice time a week later with friends to celebrate my birthday. Plus there were some more Jewish holidays. So yeah, I think it's going to be a mix. Oh no, still fairly happy with a couple of productive, a couple of meh, one half sad. Was that the day before my birthday? No, it was the 12th of October. Why was I sad on the 12th of October? I don't know. And then half exciting. What was that one? That was on the 9th. What was going on? Anyway, I do also write a line a day, so which technically should have finished on the 31st of December 2025. I've been doing it for 4 years, but actually I think I've got space to continue it for another 4 years, so I'm gonna do my best. So I could go back and look at like individual days and see why I felt a certain way, but it's fine. I just like looking at the pie charts, to be honest. November, I think, was fairly meh. It was very, very busy at work, and so I think maybe, but I also had some performing work, so that was fun, but there might be some more like either frustrating or tiring or, I don't know, meh days. Let's see. Oh yeah, still only 3.5 days, like not crazy, but it is over 10%. And then one half productive day, and the rest still chill slash happy, so not so bad. And then December, again, the start of December was quite like, there was quite a bit of anxiety I felt, and also just in general busyness and lots going on, working a lot, very tired. But then after like the second week of December, everything really calmed down, and it was very chill and a bit productive as well. So let's see what actually is shown. Yeah, okay, couple of chill happies, couple of mehs, couple of tiring. This is the biggest, maybe not necessarily the biggest tiring, but there's one day, and there's also a half day that was sad. What was sad in December? The 14th. And you feel like December I should know, but I don't. And then also a half day that was emotional. Oh, that was the other half of the 14th. I wonder what happened on the 14th of December. But yeah, that's that. And now let's look at the year at a glance, which we have already seen in like colours, but now I want to look at it in a pie chart. I would say I'm going to guess around 80% is chill slash happy. And then I would say the next biggest category is probably normal slash meh, and then productive, and then the rest. That's what I'm imagining. Ooh, okay, no, I'm right. Okay, oh, wow, 87%. That's actually a lot more than I thought. It's chill slash happy. That's followed by normal slash meh with 5%, which is followed by productive, which is 3.3%. Then I think it's emotional next, yeah, at 1.6. Then I think it's exciting at 0.7. What comes next? Tiring at 0.8. Boring and sad both at 0.5. Frustrating at 0.3 and anxious at 0.1%, but that's not completely true. It's very rare for me to put anxious as the main emotion because I can feel anxiety for, call it, a couple of hours, but I won't let it dictate my day. So even though I feel anxious, I won't necessarily notate it as an anxiety day. So I've had a lot more anxiety than just half a day in the entire year, trust me. But I'm pretty pleased with that. Now, the only thing I want to check is how that compares to the last few years. Ooh, I actually much prefer the pie chart I made last year. But it was a lot less happy days. It was only 70%, and it was a lot more productive. It was 15%, whereas this year it was only 3.3%. Then it was exciting. That was the next biggest last year, and then all the rest. Very different, very different. And then let's also just have a look at 2023. Oh, again, even less chill slash happy, only 60%. And again, more productive, 13%. More exciting, 8%. And it feels more even, I think, that year. But anyway, those are all my emotions of the last 3 years, and I do plan to continue this next year, or this year, 2026. So I will share with you the pie chart, probably in January 2027. It is crazy that next year is 2027. What? Anyway, I'm gonna leave it here. Let me know if you track your emotions or if you do a year in pixels in a similar way. And if you know, I don't know, what was your main day? I hope your main emotion was chill/happy or something along those lines. A positive emotion. But that is all from me for this video, and I will see you all in another one very soon. Bye!